Welcome to Infotech Lead Videos. Here we have Dmitri Chen, Chief Operating Officer, APJ Vice President of Specialty Sales, Dell EMC, speaking on at Dell EMC Forum 2017 in Bangalore.
I want to give you our point of view around the general IT ecosystem and the landscape. So going back, it starts at the application layer. Applications are probably the closest thing there is to the business, right, from a technology standpoint. Those applications are increasingly leveraging cloud operating models. Now we look at it as a cloud operating model, not cloud as a destination. Infrastructure is a destination, but our point of view is that cloud operating models is a way of consuming IT, making it as efficient as possible to do self-service for traditional applications or for some of the new cloud-native applications. I want to make it as easy as possible, as automated as possible, so that ultimately, ideally, this infrastructure is served up in a pool of compute and network and storage capacity that I can point towards whichever application problem I have that'll address the business opportunity. We're also seeing a big shift towards, increasing involvement from an end user standpoint, end user customers, end users from a worker standpoint. Like, how do I leverage the 140,000 team members across Dell Technologies to help accelerate our own internal journey? We start thinking about that. In this overall landscape, one thing you can be sure of is whether it's out at that edge device from an end user standpoint, or in your core data center, or out in somebody else's cloud, security strategy has to be rethought, because these are typically different architectures that are being contemplated in each of these different layers. So when you think about that, we look at how does Dell Technologies fit into that. So when you look at end users, it's very obvious. Dell, Heritage Dell, from a client standpoint, fits right there. When you think about the infrastructure side, combining Dell, EMC, the server stack, the infrastructure portfolio, storage, data protection, we have a lineup of technologies that Sarv said is, look, these are all number one across their different categories. Now, it's not as necessarily as important that we're number one. What it should feel good about as a customer is it's investment protection. If I invest in this stuff, I'm not going to go wrong. It's a safe bet. When you start thinking about VMware, VMware's heritage started at virtualization, virtualized servers, storage, network. VMware's moving into a multi-cloud capability for management and orchestration. Doesn't matter whether it's mission-critical applications, general-purpose applications, new cloud-native applications. I need that horizontal layer that can be that management orchestration capability in that multi-cloud environment. And also, I need the connection out to the users. I need to make sure that I can manage and I can secure all my devices. Sometimes that's bring your own device, sometimes that's going to be company supplied, but it shouldn't matter. I need a management capability. So VMware does that. That's where they play right in the middle. When you start thinking about mission-critical applications in the cloud, I mean, these are these traditional applications that cost firms a whole lot of money to run every single year. If I can make them more efficient, drive higher SLAs, and do it at a lower overall cost within public cloud, that would be pretty cool. So that's the capability from a VirtuStream standpoint. That's coming to India soon. For the application space, I need a development platform for software so I can accelerate it. I need a methodology that will help me build software faster and bring these new applications and experience to my end users faster than the competition. If I do that, I will take share. That's where Pivotal fits in. These are a lot of family members. From a security standpoint, now every firm is going through this, rethinking of how they address security. A lot of them say, you know what, I want to do it myself. For that, we have a whole suite of products around security to help customers do it yourself. And if you get to a spot where you say, look, I'm not really necessarily like, I don't want to stay in that, security operations center business. I want somebody to do it for me, then we would leverage the relationship with SecureWorks. Now, look, there's a lot of help that people need around consulting, around delivery, around managed services. For that, we offer Dell EMC services. And then finally, look, I may only want to use it for a certain period of time, and then I want to put it back in to the overall tool. For that, we're building more and more flexible consumption models to address the need for, I only need it for a certain period of time, I don't want to be able to give it back. So leveraging Dell Financial Services is where we can help there. So when you think about that overall ecosystem, what we are trying to do is offer a set of solutions under this family, one single family, from the edge, into the core data center, and ultimately into whichever cloud you may have data sitting. Make sense? Cool? Okay. So that's the second piece. Third piece, there's all these shifts occurring across every industry. Here's how we've organized ourselves. How do you take what's going on, right? So what is going on in each of these transformational journeys, and where might we be able to help you accelerate each of them? So I'm going to go into a little bit of depth on each of these. Not too technical because I'm not, but I'll start with digital transformation, the first piece of this. Okay. So look, everybody's pretty aware of the shift around the taxi industry, right? Tremendous amount of pressure. It's not the point around, hey, did you know that Uber's like a new service? It's off. Of course you know that. Okay. Here's the thing that you want to observe though. Uber has, disrupted on a pure software basis, right? They don't have any real taxi drivers. Everybody's like a contractor. Fair? Okay, everybody knows all of that. So have they gone and affected the transportation industry? For sure. Now, once they built this platform of software, they essentially said, okay, what are some of the other business problems and other areas that we could potentially go disrupt and go take more share now that we have this platform? So the first thing they did was they said, well, let's go buy a mapping company so that we can really understand digital mapping. So it was their first real acquisition. Do that, they incorporate it. Then they say, okay, how can we take this and introduce courier so we can offer courier services? What else can we do? Well, we could ultimately get into food delivery. So we'll do Uber Eats, right? They started Uber Boats in some parts of the world, right? They started thinking differently. Then they go, okay, so really what we've done is we've created this massive transportation ecosystem. We've got all this intelligence. That's why their values, even with all the controversy that they've gone through as an executive team, they still their market cap's gone up to 70 billion. And they were only started in 2009, so they've been around for 8 years, very quick, right? And that's because the investors can see the potential of what they can do with this platform essentially just by adding new services onto it. Most recently, they made an acquisition near the end of last year. They were like, I guess maybe we don't need all these contractors. Maybe we can get into driverless cars. So they made this acquisition, and then they demonstrated delivering Uber cars on an auto diesel that was driverless to deliver from point A to point B, and they did that just recently. That is putting pressure on every single. That's going on so many different industries beyond just the taxi industry. So that's the implications that I think we need to think about. Now, how do we take advantage of that? Companies like Ford go, okay, so we've been around for over 100 years. We've got a mountain of information and intelligence around our customer base, around our industry. That's a competitive advantage, but it's not. If I can't get across it fast enough and analyze it and produce new, unique customer experience, that's where they're starting to go invest really heavily. I mean, Ford's moving from being this automotive firm to being a very software-oriented firm. Thinking closer to home around Tata, you look at Jaguar and Land Rover and what they're trying to do, they're trying to do the exact same thing. They've got disruptors like Tesla coming in on electric cars. I mean, we're like in this really amazing period of time. The common thread is really around this whole shift in software.